for finding the time. I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
Thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate this. I have a question for both of you right off the bat. It's been 10 years, right, since we started this. There's been a lot of stops and starts in between, but now you're both putting the proverbial literal masks back on. What does laying the foundation like? What does that feel like for you, Charlie, putting that mask back on?
Okay, well, on a personal level, it's obviously a huge thrill. I say this all the time, but I'm still kind of don't quite believe it's happened. It's happening that we're here promoting a new season. Like I never ever thought this day would come. I love this show. I love this character. I love working with this gentleman here.
Vincent, my name is.
Thank you. And literally getting ready to do the show is an absolute blessing and a joy. I'll leave it there. Vincent,
you guys seem like you're finally getting along okay. What is it like for you to inhabit this character again, this powerful, menacing figure, but also a lot of it simmering under the surface as we see clips from season 4?
It's just a thrill. I love playing this character. It's a pretty easy question to answer. I just love it. You can do so much with this character. We were able to put him in domestic situations, and that's always really fun to play. Sometimes it doesn't appear to be fun on screen, but it's actually a blast to see how much he struggles with being in the light. The metaphor would be like a vampire trying to live in the daylight, very, very tough. But I love it. I love the exploration. I love putting him in all these circumstances. I love the conflict between the two of us. And I yell at Zura playing my wife in the show. She's such a great actress, and we have so many emotional scenes together. I mean, the whole thing was such a thrill when I heard that we were doing it. And then when I started reading the scripts, we had a lot of work to do, but we did it. And the show, it was all for the fans. Everybody had the same attitude. Let's do it for the fans. Let's do what they want. It's been great, So after Echo, when I learned we were coming back, I was just so thrilled. So thrilled.
And the fans love watching. I mean, you talk about the fans, and I think like a lot of folks, I pretty much lost my mind when I saw the trailer and that diner scene. It's been 30 years since I've been this excited to see two dudes have a cup of coffee at a diner. And can you just, each of you, Vincent, I'll start with you on this question. Can you just give me a synopsis of where your character has been and where your character's mental state is at that diner scene?
Well, his mental state before he goes home to Vanessa is he's been away. He hasn't told her where he's been. He hasn't told anybody. He's been back to recoup from what Maya put him through, which she attempted to pull the badness out of him. It didn't work, but it messed with him a little bit. And he had to get his stuff together. He dropped weight. He was, it really threw him for a loop. And so he goes back to find Vanessa because he's formed a plan. But first, he has to fix his marriage from disappearing.
It's so much for you to kind of, have in your head as you're acting and delivering these scenes. Charlie, I'm wondering for you, is your emotional makeup in that scene similarly like kind of all over the place, or are you a little more focused with where your life is?
Something happens in the beginning of this new season which completely changes Matt's life forever. And I think on some level he will be unrecognizable for the rest of his life. Walking into that diner scene, he's carrying a burden that not only can he not shift, he probably doesn't want to shift. He probably the weight of it is actually a form of penance for him, and it's gonna influence everything he does from here on out. So for the duration of that scene, in some ways there's three people in that scene, and one of them's a ghost.
Hearing you guys talk about this, I love how seriously you take your craft with this, because the fans count on that and they know how much you put into it. And I think it's not just the actor. I think it's everything behind the scenes too. When you look at the previous seasons, and we always have that like one epic fight scene to look forward to. It's like stairwell, hallway, prison. I imagine there's something like that. Charlie, is there anything you can tease about maybe like an epic fight scene that we're going to get to see?
Yeah, there's a few. There's a few goodies. There's a great one in the first episode. I think there's a really fun one in episode 2, episode 6. Some cool shit. There's a bunch.
Episode 5.
Episode 5. Yeah. No, it's like I'm not worried about that.
I'm like writing all these down, like I'm taking notes here. And then we also get to see some old rivals and frenemies, however you want to phrase it. Bullseye, Punisher. What's it like for y'all just reuniting with everyone again after so much time?
Oh, it's so great. I mean, we really have, just love these people that we work for. They've all, every time an actor comes in, they hire an actor to come in. We've been so lucky because they just happen to cast it perfectly each time, which is pretty crazy. They're just nailing it every time for our show. And it's like, we get to watch these very talented people come in and execute these characters that they've invented from the page that Dario wrote. It's just fantastic. They're all good. It's great to work with them. We look forward to it.
Is there a character, villain, hero, whatever, in any corner of the MCU that y'all would love to see your character face off against in some world way down the road or in some alternate universe? Who would you really like to square off against in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I think just for iconic purposes for both of us, there's a lot of story to tell with Spider-Man. So if
he's got a good lawyer.
Yeah. If you've become a fan of the comics, or if you've grown up in the comics in any way, that will always be an itch that needs to be scratched in some capacity.
I mean, I would agree with Charlie. Yeah.